Hello again, and welcome to the second episode of Ask Reddman, the only show where you get to ask me questions, and I'll try to answer them to the best of my abilities. We left off last week with a question from Tracy Nelson, who asks, how do you juggle? When juggling, it is important to have three objects that are roughly the same size and weight, first of all. Now, I usually color one of the objects a different color from the rest so you can follow it. You want to start with two balls and get used to the pattern with that, and then maybe move up to three balls. Sometimes learning how to juggle with one hand is even easier. But all juggling really is a lot of practice, and as you can see, I'm probably not the best juggler in the world. That damn Atari kid asks, on one of my computers I have Linux running on it. It's an older computer, so sometimes it tends to be laggy. Would there be any chance that I'd be able to run Team Fortress 2 or Portal on it using the lowest possible settings for either game? Well, I've tried this with hardware that's actually pretty modern, and it just doesn't work. The problem right now is that there's no Linux native version of Steam. If there was, this would not be a problem at all. However, the only way to really play Windows games through Linux is through Wine, and Wine has its own list of problems. So it's not the best thing to try to emulate games on. Emulating other Windows applications, fine, but when you start doing DirectX heavy stuff, like anything Team Fortress 2 or like Portal 2 especially, you're probably not going to be able to run it. They're just too graphically intense to try to run. I've spent a couple of years trying to do this through Wine, and even on modest hardware, it's maybe I've gotten it 1 or 2 frames a second. On decent hardware, maybe like 5 or 6 frames a second. But it's just the problem is with the actual Wine system, the Windows emulation system. It's not designed to emulate very graphics intense stuff. It's not perfect DirectX emulation. Your best bet is to wait for a Linux distribution of Steam. Digital Blasphemy has quite a few questions for me this week, so we're just going to go down the line with them. His first question is, what are your opinions on conspiracy theories like the moon landing hoax, the 9/11 truth movement, or basically anything that uses no evidence to draw a reasonable conclusion? Well, there you have it. You answered your own question. It has no evidence to draw a reasonable conclusion from. And in science, we basically always deal with evidence. It's the only way we can deal with anything. It's the same reason that science makes no comment on the supernatural. Same reason that, I don't, there might be extraterrestrials out there, but I seriously doubt that they've come to the United States or they've come to Earth or anywhere. The moon landing hoax, well, you can get a powerful enough telescope and you can look at the moon and you can send laser signals up to it and they'll return from a little reflector dish that we put up there. There's things on the moon that you can see from Earth, and that basically show that we've been there. I don't know why people continually stick with this moon landing hoax thing. They find like a couple of cracks in a rock or a couple of little things on a rock, and they say, oh, there's some symbols there, and they think that the flag's waving in some sort of breeze. And when you look at it and you work the physics out, the only thing operating on there is gravity. I mean, you don't see dust billowing when it gets knocked around. It just comes up and falls down. It just drops like rocks. There's no air on the moon. They couldn't have taken a sound stage and vacuum pumped the whole thing out. Just anything that size, you're going to have leaks. The moon landing hoax, that's exactly what that is some sort of a joke, I guess. I really don't know how people can take that seriously. As for the 9/11 truth movement, back in the day, back in 2001, 2002, around till about 2005, admittedly, I was part of the whole truth movement thing, and I really believed that there was some kind of conspiracy theories, conspiracy behind this, or some kind of like, oh, the government had to be behind this. There's too many coincidences here. But the problem with that I learned was I was taking a result and I was looking for evidence that supported my result, no matter where the evidence came from. Even if it was just absolutely horrible evidence and downright wrong in most cases. And I would cherry pick that evidence to support my idea, and I would just throw out everything else. After several more years of research and actually reading everything and looking at the scientific information, doing the math and doing the physics, and finding out where people from the 9/11 Truth Movement were outright lying, I find that there's nothing supporting that. Now, as for the Pentagon, I do have my worries there. The Pentagon, they absolutely refuse to release any videos on this subject matter now. This could be understandable for several reasons. They may not want to release these videos because terrorists may use it as a propaganda thing. It's like, look what we did. However, I do find it kind of odd that the only pictures that we have look like some kind of a rocket going into the damn thing. I would love to see more information on the Pentagon disaster. I'm pretty sure that it's a plane hitting the building, and I'm pretty sure there's no conspiracy behind that. But the lack of evidence either way basically puts me in a territory where I really can't describe either way. I can't say that this happened this way. I can't say that this happened that way until I have enough evidence to make an informed decision. As for the problem of the third plane that was taken down over, that went down over Pennsylvania, I hear a lot of people talking about how cell phones can't work from a plane that high when they do. That's just that people don't understand the nature of radio propagation. I do believe it's entirely possible that that plane was brought down by fighter jets or something like that, and that would be completely understandable. Aside from that, all the information that people use to support the 9/11 Truth Movement seems coincidental at best. And, I mean, absolutely, during 2001 we had some really shitty security in the air. It's just how things were. That's the only reason that something like this could happen. And a lot of people are saying they're taking what's happening nowadays with the security in the U.S. and Homeland Security and how tight they are at the airport, and they're trying to apply it to this situation back in 2001, and they're saying, oh, how did these people get through security? And they're not correlating cause and effect properly. Personally, I'm pretty sure it was terrorists flying a plane into a building. I don't think the government had anything to do with it, and if you want to say that I'm getting paid off by them, that's fine, but I wish I actually saw the money. His next question is, what are your favorite subjects in science, and how do they influence you in your work/hobbies? There's a lot of things in science that I really, really dig. Just about anything that you can throw my way in science, I'm going to absorb it like some kind of an information sponge, because that's what I do. One of my biggest things in life is that I wish to learn something about everything, and I wish to do everything at least once, except maybe swimming with piranhas or something like that. That just seems stupid. As far as my favorite subjects in science go, I like just about everything from mathematics to physics to chemistry to biology, medicine, engineering, computer science, robotics. Just about anything you can list off the top of your head I enjoy. I want to learn everything I can and have information that I can use in just about any situation that I come across. I don't know. I never stop learning. I'm every day. If you don't learn something new every day, you're not doing something right. Digital Blasphemy also asks, what are your backgrounds like, training or school? How did you come to know what you know? It's a little bit iffy on that sort of thing. I did go to college for a while. I did take several different courses and things, but my major learning comes from being an autodidact. And what an autodidact is, it's somebody that teaches themselves through things like MIT OpenCourseWare and Berkeley lectures hosted on YouTube and many other great resources on the web. I've been able to teach myself everything from electronics theory to computer science to some heavy-duty physics, quantum mechanics. Just go on YouTube, say whatever subject you want, and lecture. And you'll come up with a myriad of different things that you can look at, and all kinds of great lectures, all kinds of great professors giving this stuff out for free. Something that couldn't have happened 10 years ago. I mean, it's excellent stuff, and I highly recommend getting into it. And his last question that I'm going to cover today is, you guys seem overqualified for the Game Hack series. How do you all make a living? Now, that's another iffy question for me. Zero, he delivers Chinese food, and he actually makes quite a bit of money at that. And I freelance. I do whatever comes my way. I try to do whatever I can to make money, basically, and that's all I can do right now. I'm trying to find a decent 9-to-5 job, but I'm kind of stuck in the middle of Delaware, and what do we have here? We have banks, and we have poverty. Well done. Master Gamer 15 asks, is there a way for you to fix a broken laptop battery? Well, indeed there is, but it takes quite a bit of work. First of all, you would have to take the laptop battery and crack it apart without breaking the casing on it. And then you would have to figure out how many cells there are in there, and if there's any controller boards in there, you would have to keep those and move them over. Basically, if you're trying to repair a broken laptop battery, you would have to replace the cells that are inside of it in most cases. That's what seems to go bad, especially the new lithium-ion ones. Lithium-ion batteries tend to get damaged when you let them go dead all the way, or when they're in extreme cold or extreme heat. So that's quite common to happen to laptop batteries. As far as replacing the cells inside of them, the lithium-ion cells are commercially available. However, for the price that you're going to end up paying for them, you might as well look through some kind of fly-by-night Chinese distributor to get a replacement battery of some sort. And yes, I know replacement laptop batteries can be ludicrously expensive, especially from the manufacturer of said laptop. But if you go and you look at some websites like Deal Extreme, not trying to plug them or anything, but you go onto these websites and you can search through them, and they do sell quite a few models of laptop battery, which is nice, and you can go from there, and you can get a laptop battery in some cases for under $30. So that might be a route you want to look at before trying to pull apart your battery casing, possibly dealing with some nasty chemicals like lithium. Yeah, it's not a good scene if you don't know what you're doing. You might definitely go and look at trying to find another replacement battery first before trying to crack that open. CDS Teabag asks, while we are playing Counter-Strike Source, do you see a glowing spot on my ass? Because every time I get shot by anyone, it's you. No, that's what happens when you get in the way of my gun. Anyway, we have more questions to go, so keep sending your questions, and we will get back to you next week with the next episode of Ask Reddman.